In the debate between Stormcloaks and the Imperials for the victory in Skyrim, many argue in favor of the Empire, labeling the Stormcloaks as mere ruler races lacking real power. However, there's an intriguing perspective to consider. The outcome might hinge significantly on the Dragonborn's alliance. While the Dragonborn could align with the Empire, their unparalleled strength could massively tip the scale if they sided with the Stormcloaks. The Dragonborn's might, demonstrated by defeating Alduin and mastering the Bendwheel South, provides a unique advantage. They hold the ability to control dragons and potentially assemble a dragon army, reshaping the conflict. So it's not just about the racist farmers versus the Empire, it's about the potential of Dragonborn-backed army, redefining the power dynamics in Skyrim. Adding to this, the potential backing from Hammerfell for independence might create a wild scenario, a conflict involving the Almeri Dominion against the Stormcloaks, Hammerfell and a dragon army. It's something many really haven't considered before, including myself. I used to think that if the Empire failed, it would just be Stormcloaks against the Almeri Dominion, a smaller force in comparison. However, the presence of Hammerfell and other possible allies changes the equation significantly. But it wouldn't be a fair debate, I suppose, if we were to include the Dragonborn, as it is as if the backing of mightiest god Akatos himself, plus the unpredictability of Dragonborn's choice. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, Vipernixz here, and today we are going to look at Stormcloak versus the Empire, or more specifically the Almeri Dominion situation, in the most objective way we possibly can and without the presence of Dragonborn. So let's begin. So then, is there a chance the Stormcloaks could actually win against the Empire? The first consideration should be that the Empire, although are here in Skyrim to adhere to Almeri conditions, they do not have all their numbers. Sure, the Empire has soldiers, better trained and better equipped, but that alone cannot guarantee a win. The Stormcloaks could still theoretically weaken the resolve of the Empire to an extent that it strategically withdraws, simply because they have to choose between throwing more resources and men to hold the north or keeping some of those in Heartland in case of Almeri aggression. The Empire's resources are vast but not infinite, and Ulfric knows this. The Stormcloaks aren't just made up of farmers either. Some of them were once Imperial Legion soldiers who came home after fighting the Great War versus the Almeri Dominion. Remember, Ulfric, Galmar and Rike all have served in the Legion. Therefore, all of the training and tactical knowledge available to the Legion is also available to Ulfric and Galmar, who can then just pass it down to their lieutenants and thus the whole Stormcloak soldiers. Also, the Imperial forces stationed in western Skyrim are leeching off the resources of Hafingar Hold, as pointed out by one of the Thanes.
Simple. Let the Empire fight its own war, with its own funds, and without hijacking our supplies and soldiers. Let Hafingar rebuild.
This means the Legion in Skyrim is stretched out so much that it can't even get enough logistic support from Cyrodiil. Ulfric can just raid the farms near Solitude and he can almost cripple the Legion's entire food supply. And even if Ulfric dies, I don't think the Stormcloak rebellion dies with him. Ulfric might have acted on the ban of Talos and started the rebellion, but every other Nords feel the need to do something about it since their afterlife and honor depends on it. Thus, I believe even if Ulfric dies, they would just make a martyr out of him and the fire of rebellion might burn even hotter. And I hear you, more than half of Legion in Skyrim comes from local recruits, of which might be the Nords as well, but that's within the problem. They are used to fighting, but not in a heavy plate armor. The sons and daughters of Skyrims are used to fighting in furs and leathers that protect them from the cold but keep the agility alive. But when you throw on a heavy plate armor on them, you subsequently throw out their local tactics as well, limiting them heavily. Plus, the Legion armor weighs heavy and clanks like kitchen appliances and shines like fresh snow. To further this point, the Imperials are a military culture, sure, but not like how the Nords are. They are less of a warrior and more of a soldier. In the book Arms and Armors of Nordic Champion, the author Longinus Attius, a Colovian and a former soldier, states, "For the Nords is a warrior race, and all from a goat farmer to the Scarred King own an armament of some kind." We can deduct from this and many other things we see that every Nord owns a weapon and knows how to fight. Not to say that the Imperial soldiers are defenseless or anything, but the Imperial citizens leave the fighting to the Legion, unlike the Nords. And to compare it to the real-life counterparts of the Nords, the Vikings also did not have any heavier armors as well. The heaviest armor they had was the chainmail, which is recorded as disliked by the Vikings as it was extremely uncomfortable and it would drown you if you fell in the water. And finally, to settle the point, the Nords have fought nearly every kind of enemy and armies with equipment and supplies on every end of the spectrum. Going from the Snow Elves during the Ysgramor's arrival in Tamriel from Atmora, against the Dwemer at Red Mountain in Dresden, present-day Morrowind, around 1st era 700 or possibly earlier, and against the Direni along with the Nades in the 1st era 498, against the Richman during 2nd era 852 in the Old Roland, the Bretons during the Tiber Wars, the Red Guards, the Imperials, the Argonians, the Dark Elves, the Wood Elves, Elites, Giants, Dragon, etc. and etc. in various different circumstances. I mean, the Bosmors were so afraid of Nordic invasion in the 1st era 396, they called the Wild Hunt, a ritual performed by the Bosmor or the Wood Elves for war vengeance or other times of desperation. In this event, the elves are transformed into a horde of horrific creatures that kill all in their path to kill King Borgas, the Nordic king. Skyrim, since the Nords have had it, has never been conquered. Each time it has joined and left the Empire of its own free will. This isn't the first time Nords have fought the Empire, and I don't think this will be the last. It's often overlooked, and that realization is eye-opening. Another interesting point is how much of the Dragonborn's story aligns with the tale of Talos of Atmora, a leader rising from Skyrim into conflict, possibly hinting at a canonical Stormcloak victory due to the parallels. But anyways, even if we did not have the Dragonborn, the above mentioned things are how the Nords could still win. And I'm not saying that Nords would beat the 4th Legion easily or the other way around. All I'm saying that it's a bit premature to dismiss the Stormcloaks' chance of winning completely. Anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and if it alters your perspective regarding the potential success of Stormcloaks against the Almeri Dominion or the Empire. And like always, if I've been unclear or inaccurate in any ways, let me know down in the comments. Hope you had a good time. Like and subscribe if you did. May Talos guide you in your own quest, and I'll see you on the next one.